There are 4 questions that you need to ask and answer if you want to create an effective presentation that your audience will find compelling, persuasive, and powerful. Let's look at them. The first question that you need to answer is, what is the story you want to tell? A great presentation will offer a distinctive point of view with a clear narrative. You need to find a story that will tell your audience what they want and need to know. So, how will you change their understanding of the topic or shift their point of view? The second question is, how will you craft your presentation to make it compelling? And by compelling, I mean you need to keep them interested and wanting to hear more. Typically, we use a structure to keep them on the edge of their seats. And in a business or managerial presentation, that structure needs to have logic. It needs to flow clearly from one idea to the next. When you add a logical structure to clear explanations of your ideas, then your audience will get it right away. First, you need to draw them into the story with a great hook, and then you need to keep them engaged throughout. And as you go through your story, you need to help them feel that they really understand the ideas that you're communicating. We do this with a clear structure that has chunks and a sequence and a flow to it. We spell out what that structure is, and we place signposts and checkpoints along the way. Make your ideas simple and ask questions, either explicitly or implied questions, and then give the answers. Use the principles of narrative and storytelling to sweep them along and inject some emotion into your story, and make sure that your presentation contains a distinctive point of view that makes them go, "Ah." The third question is, how can you make your presentation persuasive? How can you change minds? What's the point of giving a presentation if you can't change the way that people think about some element of your topic? If you don't give them something new, then what have they got out of the experience? First, you need to create an accurate understanding. It's not enough that they feel they understand. What they do understand has to match what you intend. Second, you need to generate agreement. They have to not only understand what you're saying, but agree at least with part of what you're saying. And finally, the bonus is to give your audience one or more aha moments. We do this with the elements of influence to create a persuasive argument, and we have a whole course on influence that you can use to help you understand how to build a genuinely persuasive presentation. Here, I'll just outline the 3 key elements of classical influence, which are called ethos, logos, and pathos. That is character, reason, and emotion. Ethos is all about feeling that we can trust the speaker. If you're going to present, how do you make sure your audience trusts that what you're presenting has integrity? You need to establish this either before you step in front of your audience or right at the beginning, quickly and effectively answering the question in your audience's mind. Why should I listen to you? Ethos appeals to our gut instincts, and therefore you create ethos, you create character by demonstrating your authority, your credibility, and your integrity. The second element of classical persuasion is logos, our appeal to reason, to the head. The core of a persuasive argument is the need to present good quality evidence in a rational way. This alone may not be enough. You of course need ethos, and you will also need pathos or emotion. However, without good evidence and without a reasoned approach, then persuasion can easily fall into simple manipulation. So, in preparing your presentation, you need to select carefully the data, the facts, the evidence that you're going to present, and you need to analyse it in a structured and logical and reasonable manner. The final element of classical influence is pathos or emotion. This is the part of your presentation that will appeal to the heart. Pathos is about feelings and values. It's what moves your audience to want to act. We use words and stories to conjure up feelings and to pack an emotional punch, using things like fear, desire, duty, and loyalty. The final question is, what can you do to give your presentation power? This means that your presentation needs to have an effect on your audience. They're not just persuaded, something is going to change. Your important points will stick in their memory. People will be inspired to do things, to take action, and as a result, your presentation will lead to real change. There are many things you can use to create a powerful impact with your presentation. And the first is the words you use, the language and the rhetoric and the style of speech. And of course, if you want people to remember something, then there are many memory hooks that you can plant in your presentation to help them to remember the important points. Next, you can ensure that what you tell them is relevant to them. You can pick out elements from the SPACES framework to emphasize the relevance. What's important to your audience out of safety and security, performance, appearance, compliance, economy, or sustainability? These aren't the only things that will be important to audiences, but if you can understand what their hot points are and you can emphasize those within your presentation, then your presentation becomes more relevant and they are more likely to remember it and act upon it. Next, you can use stories. These don't just create pathos by triggering visceral emotions and therefore conjuring empathy and inspiring people. They go further. They can hold your audience spellbound, waiting for the next twist or turn. Nothing is more powerful than a good story, well told. And of course, as part of your story, you need to spell out the measurable impacts from the actions that you're advocating. And finally, if you want people to act, a critical part of your presentation is a call to action. Great presentations are compelling, they're persuasive, and they are powerful. They make people want to listen more, they make people want to agree, and they make people do something as a result. Please do give this video a like if you've enjoyed it or learned from it. I'll be creating loads more great management courses content for you, so please do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of it. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and in the meantime, keep learning.